What's going on, everybody? My name is Hayden and welcome back to another episode of Chicago Bulls Weekly, where today we take a deeper dive into the previous week for the Chicago Bulls, give some awards that I personally think deserve to be given out this week, and also discuss what we have to look forward to in the upcoming week. And I gotta say, I'm very happy with this week. I know it's not a popular opinion based on the last game that we just played, but I am very happy and I'm very impressed with the week that we had. So let's discuss how good it was in this video. Before we get any further, if you liked the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about these Chicago Bulls and the previous week they had, the upcoming week, as well as whether or not you agree with the awards given in this time out. With that being said, we had 3 games to look forward to in this previous week, and we ended up going 2-1. Now 2-1 is good in general, especially when you're the Bulls and you're 13-15 in the season. Every time you go positive in a week, you should be very happy with that, and that's just how I feel at this point in time. But the teams that we played this time out is what made me impressed, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, we'll start off with the Toronto Raptors game, and this is obviously not necessarily a team to be where, let's just say, if we had beaten them, which we did, we should be surprised by. We did win 122 to 121 in an absolute nail-biter game. This was also the game when Josh Giddey got hurt, down with an ankle injury. I still don't know how long he's going to be out for. If someone can let me know that, that would be absolutely lovely. But we were up for a lot of that game, and then Toronto really soared back towards the end. But we held our ground, and we got the win in the end, and that's exactly what teams should be doing, especially at home, away from home, I should say. You know, if you can hold on, that's really impressive. At home, you kind of expect to win. And the Bulls, they don't win many home games, but they do seem to win a lot of away games. And this is just another one we can add to the tally. But to hold on away, I kind of expect that when we are up for most of the game, just by the narrowest of margins though. Very impressed with that game, and that was a very fun game to watch in general. Speaking of, anytime you face the former champions, or I should say current champions, and get a win, you should be proud of that. And that's what the Bulls did in this timeout. 117 to 108 to the Boston Celtics, another victory away from home. This was the one where Joe Mazzulla was kind of getting into fights with everybody, it felt like, getting kicked out of the game pretty late, and the Bulls kind of caught Boston on a cold night, but in the end, capitalized on it. Zach LaVine went absolutely crazy in this game, was very well-rounded. We had someone that can carry us out of deep holes, and Boston just didn't have enough in their repertoire of that specific game to get over the line. And the Bulls did things greatly, handled their business. It felt like we belonged against Boston, and I give a big thumbs up in that regard. Unfortunately, it wasn't to last, because when we met them at home, once again, we're not the best home team, and we showed it in this time out. We lost to Boston pretty convincingly, 123 to 98. Now, beating Boston is great, but I already said it in the preview, in one of the game reactions. It's very hard to beat not only the NBA champions like Boston, but any team really, especially when you're the Bulls. It's very hard to beat a team twice in a row, to verse them one game and then go right back home and face them again in like a playoff type of situation and beat them again. It's very hard to do that. And ultimately, we saw that firsthand. The Boston Celtics were able to adjust their game plan heavily, and this is where we defensively fell and we desperately got destroyed, especially with points in the paint. They scored almost half their points in the paint. 60 of them. That's unbelievable. It's not good enough. And the Bulls suffered on the defensive end because of that. So, very depressing. But ultimately, I still think it's a good week overall. You know, you can target out the one loss and make it worse than it's ever been. But when you get 2 wins, you beat the reigning champions, you just hang on against the Toronto Raptors with some controversy and adversity there. You know what? I'll take it. Good week for the Bulls. And it's a week deserving of some awards. Now, I do have certain awards I'd like to give out. So the normal ones, the must improve, Defensive Player of the Week, Player of the Week, and Sixth Man of the Week. That's all we got to discuss in this one, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm not going to necessarily be too proud of myself to give this must improve to this person. And I'm going to justify why I personally won't necessarily read into the must improve for this one a lot. But this time, ladies and gentlemen, my personal must improve is a guy coming off the bench who wasn't terrible, but wasn't necessarily that efficient either. Lonzo Ball is my must improve. Now, the reason why I'm not reading too much into this is because Lonzo Ball is still just getting back into the rhythm of things. He did have a recent wrist injury. He's obviously still load managing his knee. I don't necessarily think it's been a terrible week for anyone on this Bulls team. But obviously, if I have to select one person, he would be the guy that I would select. It may not be the most popular opinion. Ultimately, we're going to go to something else in the next award where Lonzo Ball's probably going to win it again. But I just think overall he just had a really bad offensive week with a couple of highlights stuck in there, of course. And I think we could see a little bit better with the amount of minutes that he's playing for the Bulls at this point in time. But I just gave him the must improve. Can I really give him the defensive player of the week as well? Well, statistically, he is the best defender this week. He's had the most steals in the Bulls team this week. He's also got a block to his name as well. Only 3 games being played. And I just think no one else has kind of got near him defensively. Look, we suffered a dramatic amount of points in the paint. I can't really put that on Lonzo Ball. Perimeter defensively, we were better this week. And Lonzo Ball plays a big factor in that. And he got a block to his name. So even though he wasn't that good this week offensively, I would make it a claim to say he was our best defender this week. So maybe he doesn't deserve that must improve award. Like I said, I'm not reading much into it. Based on statistics and efficiency, I would have to give it to Lonzo Ball must improve wise. But based on those statistics and efficiency on the defensive end, I really think he's been our best defender this week as well. So we're throwing the awards out the window this week, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody gets it. I'm joking. But yeah, that's just how I feel. And that's obviously when looking into the stats, that's what I have to say. My 6th man of the week, this one could be a little bit more difficult because I cannot give that to Lonzo Ball if he, just imagine every award just goes to Lonzo. But we got to take a look at, I guess, some really impressive performances from a lot of guys. What I liked about our bench this week is it felt very much well-rounded. Sure, not everybody drops, I guess, the double-figure point tallies like, you know, maybe you'd like to see on any given night. For example, this last game against Boston where we did win the game, we had some great performances there. Guys like Julian Phillips with 10 points and Taylor Horton-Tucker with 9 points. It's been quite interesting in that regard. I just want to take a look at this Raptors game. I want to take a look at the stats because I have a guy in mind, but if he struggled in this one, it might not be fair to give it to him. Let's see where he is. You know what? I'm going to give it to him. It's going to be Julian Phillips. That's the guy I had in mind. For whatever reason, he's just made a big impact in every way. He's scored almost double figures in every single one of the games. He's been a guy that we can rely on. He's been a guy to step up and play big minutes. And you know what? He's really developing into such a great bench player for the Chicago Bulls. It's actually quite surprising. No one talks about Julian Phillips that much. People forget he had a really injury-prone first year. And I think this is his 2nd year. And he's fit right into the team like a glove, playing the role that he needs to play in. And this week, I just thought it was kind of a week where no one's going to talk about him, but he kind of played well in every single game. I'm happy with Julian Phillips, and I wish more people would talk about him. And you know what? I wish I could talk about him more. I should talk about him more because he's had a very underrated season for the Bulls thus far. Yes, it's been, you know, coupled with some minute issues. Some games he's not playing, some games he's playing, and some games he's starting. But this week, thumbs up. And my player of the week is Zach LaVine. I just think the 36 points that he had throughout the week was the key into him getting this award. I really enjoyed what he was able to do. And even then, he didn't have a terrible game throughout the entirety of the week. We could definitely see better, but it wasn't terrible. And he had a great night in that first game against Boston. So what do we have to look forward to next, ladies and gentlemen? Well, there are 3 games the Chicago Bulls will have to play this week. The first one is going to be in a couple of hours' time against the Milwaukee Bucks at home. Now, I believe we've already faced Milwaukee twice this season. We've won one, we have lost one. The Bulls are not necessarily the best home team. This game will be at home, but again, when Milwaukee come to town, you got to be ready for them. You got to be absolutely prepared because this is a game where I expect both teams to bring their absolute best into it. And I hope the Bulls can walk away with a victory. Judging by recent performances, I could give them a chance. I don't think they'll be favorites though. Then we face the Atlanta Hawks away from home. Now Atlanta, I think, are having a relatively good stretch of basketball. Trae Young looks like he's playing unbelievably well. And Atlanta, when Trae Young play well, if you know what I mean. So, again, that should be a difficult one, but the Bulls have had Atlanta's number for a couple of years now, I would say, and I hope that can continue. And then the last game we've got is against the Milwaukee Bucks again, at home again. I don't need to repeat myself. What I said in that previous statement with the Bucks, I will say here as well. Thank you for watching. I expect the Bulls to go 2-1 this week. Let me know what you think. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.